Sure. So, whenever we hear about the phrase human machine collaboration in the built environment, the conversation usually moves towards, say, about tools and certain softwares and technology. We talk about artificial intelligence and smart systems and automation, and now newly talked about digital twins and robotics. But as machines become more and more capable, what must and always remain human? Because in architecture and design, that is where the real responsibility lies. This real responsibility is shared by all of our stakeholders in this room, be it architecture, interior design, landscaping, urban planning, town planning, etc., etc. Can I have the pointer? As you're already aware, machines can obviously do a lot of things that is much, much better than all of us can. It can calculate faster, it can simulate performances of a building better, it can detect clashes between the mechanical and structural in the built environments, and that is why we use BIM. It can generate multifarious options for me. It can coordinate information. In a nutshell, it can increasingly help us predict as to how a building may behave. Sorry, I think there's something wrong with the pointer, I guess. I'll just continue my presentation. But the built environment is not only a complex geometric or a mathematical or a technical problem to solve. It is indeed a human experience. A machine can always tell us about compliance. Say, for example, if I take the example of a corridor or a doorway or a hallway, the machine can tell me about the codal compliances, about the width, or say the clearances, or maybe the airflow or the circulation logic. But if I go to a hospital corridor and it is extremely harshly lit, it is visually cold and sterile, it is endlessly repetitive, emotionally blank. It can intensify anxiety for someone who is already in a very highly stressed environment and in an extremely vulnerable state. There was a picture which said 1,000 words, which was on the screen before that, about the hospital design that I was trying to convey. And this is something that was recently done by us. The machine can verify compliance, but it cannot fully understand distress. Take a classroom, for example. All the building simulation softwares can optimize the classroom for me in terms of its orientation, in terms of computational fluid dynamics, airflow, daylight levels, ventilation, or occupancy patterns. But a child does not experience classroom as data. A child will experience it as atmosphere. So, what does the child experience? Whether the classroom is calming, or does it give restlessness? Does it invite focus or any kind of agitation? Does it feel safe or comfortable for the child to learn in it? These are all very central questions, and still they're all very deeply human. Just take a moment for the audience to assimilate what I've been trying to say. Coming back to the main topic of human-machine collaboration, we always talk about how machines are going to replace us architects. Well, obviously, we don't need to worry about it because that is not happening. Because there is something that we have that the machines do not. That is human intuition. So the future is not about machines replacing architects. It is about understanding as to which decisions should belong to machines and which ones should never, ever be surrendered by us too early. Some decisions are computational by nature, and machines can obviously help us enormously there. Say, as I previously always said, building performance analysis, energy modeling and simulation, BIM coordination, predictive maintenance, and operational efficiencies. But all the other decisions must remain human at their core. What should be emphasized? What should feel quiet? What creates a sense of belonging? What is enough? These are all simply design choices. These are judgments about human experience. Because the real danger, ladies and gentlemen, is not that machines are going to replace us. The real danger that we inevitably is lurking on our doors today, and it's there, is that we have started beginning to confuse speed with wisdom. A machine can reproduce an answer in the flash of a second, but it does not necessarily mean that it has understood the fundamental question. A building can be technically very advanced. It can run at its optimum efficiency in terms of its performance, be it thermal, acoustic, or lighting, and still feel alienating. A space can be highly optimized, but still be emotionally very, very poor. All of us talk about smart environments that appear very impressive in, say, presentations, but in our daily lives, they can actually become very intrusive. And people can actually start feeling very disconnected from how they actually live. So, what is our goal? Our goal is not to create buildings that are simply more intelligent. Our aim and goal should be to create buildings that are more humane. Or maybe we can ask a better question. Rather than asking that what can technology do, maybe we can ask that what human capacity does this technology protect or amplify or free? If a tool reduces our repetitive coordination work, obviously that matters. Obviously it's required, but not because automation is fashionable, but because it frees up time for me for actual thinking and actual cerebral work. So, if simulation helps me avoid errors, of course that matters, but not because the model is sophisticated, but because it protects trust. If responsive systems improve my comfort, of course that matters, but not because the building becomes smart or say because it just becomes very fancy and automated, but because the person inside or the user, he feels less burdened by the environment around him and he feels psychologically safe and better. So, the machine is not the hero, but the real human experiences. So, what does it mean for all of us in the Indian context? In India, the challenge is often not the access to technology, but the real world challenge is the meaningful adoption of technology. In India, we work within the realities of tremendous cost and time pressures with an extremely fragmented execution structure and with very uneven technical capacities and long-term maintenance gaps in the construction environment. So, what is the real question? The real question is, can we add more systems? Can we add to make it something look more futuristic or fancy? Or can we use technology in ways that is more practical and genuinely beneficial over a long period of time? Because technology that cannot be sustained and maintained is not innovation. And technology that is added only for optics, the recently concluded AI Summit is an example of that. So technology that is added only for optics is certainly not progress. And systems that continue to ignore human behavior will eventually fail, no matter how advanced or how sophisticated they look on day one of their adoption. So, what does the future hold for us? The future of the built environment belongs to those who can balance and hold both sides together, the precision of machines and the judgment of human beings. Machines help us build faster, coordinate better, and predict well. But it is humans who must still decide what is worth building, what is not worth building, what is excessive, what is not required, what should feel calm, what feels vulnerable, what makes a space not just efficient, but indeed meaningful. So, what is the way forward for all of us here? I hope we do not ask only how intelligent our buildings can become, but we need to ask how considerate or how sensitive they can become. And most importantly, how respectful can they become of the people who inhabit them? Because in the end, the most important collaboration is not between the software and the systems. It is between technology and human intention. And that is where the future will truly and genuinely be shaped. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.